All right. What's up, everyone? Fucking episode one, Best in the Northwest. I got CT, Bickley, and John Person. What's up, guys? How's it going?
It's going good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Man, I've been meaning to start this podcasting for a fucking long time. And then I was like worried about trying to like buy all this expensive shit and and then I just realized you can just like fucking record a Zoom meeting. And I'm like, I'm just going to fucking start there and then build it from there. So anyways, yeah, man, I'm excited. The whole point of this podcast is going to be me. I think there's a big void in the Northwest for fucking podcasts, just bodybuilding media. You know what I mean? We got a lot of fucking good competitors up here, a lot of talent. And I think this would do well and people will really like this. And I plan on basically just going around and training with and doing podcasts with all the best competitors from the Northwest. So that's the goal. So I think it's going to be fucking pretty awesome.
I like it.
Yeah, it sounds like a great idea, man. I think that there may be a lot of us, but we're kind of disconnected a little bit sometimes. You know, we don't meet up often other than see each other at shows, and then we might miss the connection when we're there. And
I literally just said that earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're always in our own fucking heads, like, fuck, you know what I mean? Dieting.
Yeah, it sucks, man, because there are a lot of good people out there and we just don't end up talking. So it's good that I just started getting a little bit more social with everybody, just kind of,
Mhm.
meeting some really cool people. And honestly, it makes everything so much better that way.
It does. Yeah, I did that when I did North Americans and Nationals this year. I had North Americans, I was just like fucking shut down in my own little world and shit. And then when I got home, I was like, fuck, dude, I didn't even like bullshit with that many people. For Nationals, I like took the time and went around and bullshitted. There was like 32 supers, so there was just a huge group of us, and it was fun. I actually got to, talk to some of these dudes, and yeah, man, like you said, everyone has an interesting story, and yeah, it's fucking dope.
Yeah.
So, anyways, John, you're starting a new gym, man. It looks fucking awesome. It looks really cool. When's it opening?
So I'm waiting on some equipment now. So I thought that I was going to open it here. The original date was just in end of December. Then it got moved again due to some issues with the city of Buckley. Just some hoops we had to jump through. Got through those, and now I'm kind of waiting on some equipment to get delivered. So looking like February, like right at the beginning of February. So
yeah. Do you have to pay rent on that building like without having it open right now?
Not yet. So that's good.
That's cool. That's cool. And you're getting some cool ass shit. Like I saw you got a bunch of Arsenal stuff, and like, man, you're getting some top of the line shit, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, originally I had these, I had thought that I was going to buy all new equipment. I was going to have this huge like load from Arsenal, a lot of their stuff. And then you start getting the prices back and you're like, I think I'm gonna adjust what I'm doing a little bit. So that, so I did end up getting like I think 7 or 8 pieces from Arsenal. I got a Rogers. I bought this brand new because I couldn't find it used, but the Rogers Power Squat.
Oh yeah, that's dope. Love that.
Yeah, I looked all over for it used, but nobody wants to
I've
sell
never
them.
used one of those.
They're pretty
Yeah.
badass. Yeah.
I got one a while back, and I fucking love it. But yeah, keep going, man.
Yeah. So, originally how this all started was I had worked in building new construction for, about 12 years in a family business. I'm a real estate agent and
Oh, okay.
I make money doing it, but I don't love it.
Mm,
So,
right.
I just not passionate about it at all, which, sometimes that's just the way life is. We do jobs, we provide for our families, then we do other stuff for fun. But, I saw an opportunity to, coaching was picking up. I didn't foresee that happening. I
Mhm.
was very passionate about coaching, but I was just worried, like maybe there won't be a demand for my wife and I, like maybe we won't be able to, get enough clients to really make it feasible for us. And, I think just through just continuing to put ourselves out there, trying our best, being passionate and treating people well, just
Mhm.
showing them that we care about their goals and just caring about them in general. It just seemed to
Yeah.
really take off. So once we had enough support with the coaching, I thought, maybe we can do this. So we just kind of started to really think about it, started looking at locations, and I'd saved up some money and I said, well, what do you think? Like, I talked to my wife. I
Mhm.
said, I think we could do this. And she agreed. So we went all in. So
Right.
hopefully it works out
You,
for us.
you didn't have to do any type of business loan or anything, just all saved up money.
Yeah, luckily no loans at this point. Hopefully I can keep it that way.
Yeah, that's fucking way
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, so hopefully I can keep it that way. That's why I decided to what kind of pushed me was we worked out at this gym that's about 20 minutes from us in Bonnie Lake, and they closed. So once we found that we got basically got like 3 weeks notice that they were closing and they were gonna have an auction selling off all their equipment.
Oh,
So
hell
I'm
yeah.
like, all right, it's time. I don't want to train at Planet Fitness. That was the only gym around. So I just said, I'm gonna buy a bunch of this stuff. So I think I dropped like 40K on the auction, you know,
Nice.
and just went from there. So
You probably got like twice the amount of worth of equipment, huh? Like for 40K.
yeah, it's
Get a good
crazy,
deal.
man. Equipment, the depreciation is just incredible. Like, say I go buy something new from Hammer Strength and it
Yeah,
costs me, $4,000.
right.
Well, the second I get it, it's worth 2,500 bucks.
I
Or,
know it's crazy.
it's just like, man,
Yeah.
it's bad. Like cardio equipment's even worse though.
Oh
So
yeah. See, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, me and CT were just kind of talking before you got on here,
yeah.
kind of like what you're saying. I do private security, private armed security, and it's cool. It pays the bills. It's great, but not what I'm fucking. We're all passionate about the same thing here. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's why we're successful about it. And right now, I have fucking a good amount of equipment stored up. I got a couple different garages and one storage unit. I just don't have the cardio equipment, and that shit's massively expensive.
Yeah.
Um, I just kind of when COVID happened, we were working out, was forced to work out from home, so I just started buying shit. And then the more I looked at Facebook Marketplace, the more I fucking became obsessed with it. So long
It
story
gets,
short,
yeah,
yeah, I know you can
kind of
find
fun.
them
You
sometimes,
start
and you got
buying
to
it.
drive a little bit. Oh man, so
Yeah.
I found some really cool shit. Like I found this old Panada leg press from like the '90s, and it's so unique. It's like almost vertical, but like still like kind of slanted. It's pretty dope, and the seat's like so comfortable.
Yeah.
Um, I got a pendulum, but I got the cheap one. It's like a Fettle Fitness one. It's like I'm sure you've seen those brands. They're like
Yeah.
kind of like they're like half the price. It's actually pretty good though.
Mhm.
I got quite a bit of good shit. It's just right now I'm like trying to save up money like you did
Mhm.
and not have to rely on a loan. But the hard thing is having so much equipment and storing it is it's kind of killing me at the same time, because fucking storage units are expensive.
Yeah.
um, so what I might do is my lease is up here pretty soon. My girlfriend's lease is up here pretty soon. We're gonna move in together. So what I try to do is like get a place with either like a wide one car garage, try to fit as much stuff as I can in there, start trading, build up a clientele on my days off, and then try to transition that into like kind of like we were saying, transition it into starting small and going from there. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
it's been the dream for a while. And when I saw you were getting it going, I
Yeah.
was fucking pumped, man. I was like, hell yeah. And like we never really spoke too much too. We just kind of
Yeah.
on IG a little bit.
Yeah. I've been a long time fan of yours, man. I never really talked to you, but I'd say like, I think 5 years ago, like I saw your physique on Instagram and I'm like, damn, that's what I want. Like I want that physique. Like I just thought it was like out of this world. I just thought it was near perfect at that time. So yeah, definitely, man.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. That was
Yeah.
probably one of the Emerald Cups. I did it in
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
17. 17, 18, and 22. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. The Emerald Cup, man. Have you guys done E Cup?
I'll let you go first, Chris.
Uh, yeah, I did it. When I should have probably waited a few more years. It was
Yeah.
like the second year I started competing, and I was not muscular
You're just like,
enough.
fuck it, go jump in the biggest show.
I just wanted to see, and my boy
Yeah.
ended up taking the overall and then going to turn pro, and I was
Is that
laughing because
Stu?
I was like, we train together, but
Are you talking
huh?
about Stu? Stu?
No, no.
Oh.
Oh, I'm trying to think of his name right now. He fucking
Oh, this was a
went
while
and
ago
he
then.
worked with this is the guy I was talking about that worked with Matt Porter back in the
Oh.
day.
David?
But no.
Patrick.
Uh,
Patrick.
I'm
No.
gonna think of his name. Of course, so when I'm on the podcast, I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah, yeah.
He
If you
won the
Google
class
it.
the very first classic overall at Emerald Cup.
Oh,
Not
not
Michael.
Michael
No,
Spencer.
Michael didn't work with Matt. No.
Yeah, he did work in that. I don't know. We'll
No,
think of it though.
this guy as soon as he turned pro, he disappeared. Like he
Oh,
went and
okay.
turned pro for Matt and then never I don't no, I take
Hmm.
that back. He got ninth at the Olympia the next year.
Okay.
And then he stopped. I think he was frustrated about the
Now you're
thing.
making me
Anyways,
curious. You're making me curious now.
I'm gonna have to look it up now all of a
Yeah.
Yeah,
sudden because
look it
he
up.
disappeared from social media and everything. So
Yeah.
What about you? You done it, John?
Okay, so my first show, I believe, was 2017. That was the year I decided to get serious about bodybuilding. I mean, I had trained bodybuilding style for a long time from like 18 years old to about 27. But I was natural and you know, I was like okay size and like okay shape. I'd never been lean in my life. Like I'd never had a six pack. But then I was like, hey, I want to do a show. So I committed to it. I decided to do my first cycle. I hired David Patrick because he lives close by. He was the only one I knew that like knew anything about the process and knew anything about
Mhm.
steroids. So I hired
Right.
him. I did the Idaho Muscle Classic in 2017. And then the following year I did E Cup and did Classic. And I swore I was coming to win the whole thing. But I got like I think like eighth out of like 17. So
Mm.
not terrible, but definitely not. I had to wake up a little bit and I had a pretty bad gyno. I had it as like a team, like just
Mhm.
natural. I had some gyno, and then I'm sure getting on some things made it worse.
Oh
And
yeah.
you
how
get shredded, and that's all you see. You're like looking at your chest. You're going like, I don't
Oh
even want to post pictures of myself.
yeah. Yeah. Oh
I'm like
fuck.
embarrassed because people they'll roast you if you
Oh
have
yeah.
gyno, like even like a speck nowadays. You see a tiny
Oh
speck,
shit.
and you'll
I
see
used to
the
get
yeah.
so
comments.
shit. Yeah.
So I,
All three of us had to deal with that.
yeah, it's a nightmare.
You guys, yeah. I got the surgery in 2016. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
got mine in 2019.
Yeah.
okay, so I had a nightmare with it because I went I should have just done some research and went to like the best, right? I just should have figured out who's the best, right? I didn't.
Yeah.
I just figured, hey, how hard can it be? I'm gonna go to a plastic
Yeah.
surgeon in Bellevue. He made it sound like he was the most competent guy ever. And I'm
Plastic
like,
surgery.
hey, and he goes, hey, listen, we can liposuction this out. It's not even a problem. Like, let's just do lipo. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm naive. I say okay.
Yeah. You're just like
The glands are
whatever.
still there. He sucked out some fat, I guess, and charged me 5 grand.
Damn.
And then I go to prep again the next time. I'm figuring, oh, it'll be gone now. Cool. It's still like there's still some there. It just looked effed
Yeah.
up. I had him try to help me again. He gave me a discount, still effed up. And then
Mm.
finally, I came back. Was it last year? It was the end of 2022. I decided to try one more time. I was like, if I can't get this right, I probably just won't compete again because the like when you have an imperfection, they're trying to find it. Like they if they
Oh,
have to if they have to
Zero in
pick
on it.
between like first and second and one of the guys has some gyno or some kind of just I had a cyst one time too. I got called out on that and they told me,
mm.
that I was using synthol And
Yeah.
I've never tried it before, but I'm
Yeah.
like, I didn't realize they were accusing me of that because Sandy Williams came, she came backstage and she's like, "Hey, where was the guy who got second?" And I'm kind of going off now, but I'll finish up
No,
real quick.
dude. Let's
You're
hear
good,
it.
But
man.
I like it.
she comes
Good
back.
stuff.
Where's the guy who got second? Hi, here I am. She said, "We don't want to see you have some kind of cyst on your delt, or not cyst, sorry. You have some kind of a bump on your delt, and we don't want to see that. Like, why do you think Hottie didn't win the Olympia last year?" And I was like,
Damn.
okay, well, I wasn't very quick that in that conversation. I didn't catch on to basically her telling me that the judging panel thought that I was using some kind of site enhancement oil on my delts. They do kind of stand out because they're just a stronger body part for me. It makes my chest look bad. But like my delts are strong and I did have a cyst there. So I had to have that removed. But in what I'm saying is they find something,
Oh
they
yeah.
find what's wrong with you and you're done, you know?
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know if your chest has come up like a lot lately. It's been looking massive. Was that a weak point for you before?
Yeah, it definitely was. And it got worse because 2022, I decided to take a run at USA's
I
and
remember
I
that.
just got hung up, man. I just got hung up on conditioning and I needed to be the most shredded guy on stage.
Been
And
there.
I decided I was gonna do whatever it takes. I'm gonna do 120 minutes of Stairmaster a day for 8 weeks if I have to. And I did that. And I was the most shredded guy on stage probably, and I was going to make a post about this, but I don't know how relatable it is to everyone. But what ended up happening was I stopped being able to press any weight. Like
Oh, dude.
185 pounds on bench press felt heavy.
Hmm. Fucking
Like,
like a house. Yeah.
yeah, so I just started deteriorating. Like unfortunately, it was a bodybuilding show, and
Yeah.
I was like coming for the Stairmaster Olympics, but
Yeah.
you just watch your body kind of just
Hmm.
everything we do, like whether it be cardio or weight training or whatever activity we're doing, what I try to tell clients and people is it's all sending messages to our body, what it needs, right? If I'm
Hmm.
telling it I want to do, an hour and 20 minutes of Stairmaster a day for, 8 weeks, and my training starts suffering and I start training for 40 minutes a day and I start trying to just get to my cardio faster because I know I have so much of it,
Hmm.
eventually your body will be like, all right, I see what you need here. Like we'll get rid of some
Yep.
of this mass that's preventing you from doing the Stairmaster easier,
Hmm. Yep.
and we'll make you smaller and you'll be able to do the Stairmaster better. And that was a costly lesson, man. I looked terrible. I was very shredded, but the judge feedback was basically you're flat, nothing's popping. And this was from Ivan. So I went to USA's and I had to hear this from Ivan that all my work amounted to me looking the worst I've ever looked.
Oh
And
yeah. Yeah.
so from there, I had to really build my chest up.
Yeah, dude, I feel you. I did that this year, man. Like this year's kind of a fucked up year for me competing because I didn't bring my best look. I think my best look was still the E Cup in 2022, possibly maybe North Americans, but this year I started dieting like 20 weeks out for USA's. And then I just didn't really lose fat as fast as I expected. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna push off USA's and just do North Americans. So then I did that. And I ended up getting eighth and just kind of missed the first call out by a little bit. And I fucked up really bad on my 30-second routine to where like I kind of fumbled on one pose and it just left a bad taste in the judge's mouth as I
Yeah,
was walking off the stage.
right.
Like I fucked up the end of my last two poses and then stumbled, then walked off. So it was like, oh.
I did that too. I went to
So
his side
I was
tricep.
just like, yeah, I was like, I shouldn't have done nationals. My body was not in a good spot to do another 10 weeks of dieting. But I was like, I got to go and make that first call out because I just got to fix these first couple things. And then I just kept dieting and my body just got worse and worse and flat. And it got to the point where like I started losing condition. It was so flat. You know how it is. Like your just
Yeah,
muscles so flat, it's not pushing against the skin. I'm like, why aren't my glutes popping? It's like,
Yeah, it's
And
weird,
I
huh?
was doing the same thing, dude. I was doing 70 minutes of cardio twice a day, like the last fucking
Yeah.
3 weeks, like a madman. I
Yeah.
took over my own prep. I was like, Tim, I got this,
Yeah.
and I was just looked like a fucking
It's
flat
tough.
pancake. But
Yeah.
lesson learned,
Mhm.
we all make mistakes. It's just kind of funny,
Oh
like,
yeah.
Yeah. It's tough, man. Sometimes you think that working harder will amount to a better look, and like your
mhm.
body just starts like dying, going limp on you. You're
Yeah,
just like you're
Yep.
trying to beat it into submission, like, oh, I just want to do more, get more shredded. And I feel like it may work for some people, but for
yeah,
me, it did not work. Like,
yeah.
and guess what? I thought maybe the drugs would, you increase your dosages and you're thinking,
Mhm.
hey, I'll be okay. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, not so much.
I think the thing is, too, is like, I think you can get away with being flat and classic and men's physique, and having really good conditioning. But open bodybuilding, like, if you're not fucking big and full, like,
Yeah,
you're just not, it doesn't matter if you're fucking peeled out of your mind. It's a bodybuilding. So I think
right.
trying to find that balance is
Especially
huge.
especially if you sacrifice shape and fullness, like I know myself, if I diet down too far, it's like I've lost all sorts of like muscle bellies.
Yeah,
Like
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure you guys
Yeah.
have experienced that.
yeah.
The white boy syndrome, like you over diet and you're just
Yeah, you
like
have that
tiny.
too? Yeah, I'm
Oh,
glad
for
I'm glad you
sure.
have that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's brutal.
So
Yeah.
let's see. I got some questions for you guys. All right. Did Hadi really lose this year's Olympia, in your opinion? How about CT? You go first.
I had Hottie winning, to be honest. I I know from the back, like people were saying, like I don't know. I think you have to be able to like definitively beat the champ. And
Mhm.
man, like Hottie and a lot of those poses, like he's so complete. And I know
Oh,
he doesn't
yeah.
have like the craziest waistline as far as like taper, but he's so hard, he's so developed. And I don't know. I just really like his look. Derek's amazing. Like I can't say anything bad about either one of them, but I don't know. I had Hottie.
Yeah. I have to agree with you pretty much everything you said there. I just think, real quick, I just think Hadi was just too hard and strided from the front. It's like I think it's like we're so obsessed with fucking glute striations. It's like, well, Derek's glutes were fucking peeled. It's like, so was Hadi's chest, but does his glutes, like, does that worth more? So was Hadi's fucking whole upper body. I don't know. I thought it was really, really close, but I just thought, and it's tough because Derek's back double bicep is like up there with Phil and Ronnie right now. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I had Hottie barely edging him out, just like he said, CT, because he's a champ. He didn't knock him off. It was really close, and I just thought. So the reason I say Hottie is because Hottie and Derek from the back, Derek's a little bit better for me. Hottie and Derek from the front, Hottie's quite a bit better. So that's kind of
Yes.
how I feel. What about you, John?
Um, it's hard when you got two guys that look that good and you can just appreciate different aspects of both of their physiques. At some point, it's just like, it's like I've seen in a lot of these pro shows. It's like, who's the judging panel? What are they liking that day? What did they get out of bed thinking? Like, it's like, this is it's a bunch of humans are judging these shows, and we all like different things. And I know there's supposed to be like a
Mhm.
specific criteria, but we all have a little. Somebody thinks maybe that my physique's awesome. Somebody might think that my physique sucks, and maybe they're both right. But you know what I mean? Like it's just like when you have those two guys, they're both so great. I would probably give it to Derek, but at the same time, if they announced it the other way around, I'm just not surprised because it's just like,
Mhm.
Yeah.
all right, I can see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll
That being
I'll
said, too,
also
go ahead, CT. Yeah.
well, I was just gonna say, I mean, being a judge, I can't say anything if I'm not right
Right.
there too. Like if you're
Yeah.
sitting
True.
right there and how it
True.
looks, from 10 feet
True.
away versus on a camera or pictures, it's so
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, um, I love Stu to death. Like I'm a huge fan of Stu. I'm a friend of Stu and everything, but he was kind of trashing this year's nationals, like on his podcast on the main one he's on. Can't remember what it's called, but anyways, he was like, "Oh, well, the nationals this year for bodybuilding was really weak." But I don't believe Stu was there for the bodybuilding section. I think he said he was gone for training and he only saw the classic. So if he's judging off of pictures, then like, dude, if you were there, that was the toughest.
I think we lost him.
Yeah.
Check. Hey, Rob. I thought it was a great nationals. I just thought it was like the wickedest lineup of white dudes ever in the supers.
You know, 16th, 17th, but they don't judge past 16th. So everyone's tied at 16th. And what's funny is, so like I beat some pretty good dudes, which I was kind of happy about, but also disappointed. But it's funny because you go on the website and it's like, I don't know if it's because of my last name or something, but I'm like literally on the bottom of like all the 16 places people. Like I should be at the top, but I'm like at the bottom. So it looks like I just fucking got smoked by everyone. But hey, whatever, you tied for 16th.
Yeah.
But I was just like, man, Stu, I would have to debate that was, maybe not the class winners were like mind-blowingly fucking good, but like overall, as far as depth, talent, that was nasty nationals, dude.
Well,
There was fucking like 40 light head. Like it's just the numbers. There was dudes tying in last place. They were 250 with striated glutes in the super with damn good shape. It was wild. So I just think maybe he saw the pictures or just took a glance and didn't see it.
well,
Like
I
I said,
mean,
Stu's one of my favorites, but I just thought it was weird that he's saying that.
think about this. Like you have a pretty badass physique, right? I think you don't have to say yes, but I'm gonna say that.
Thank
Like
you.
I think your physique's pretty badass. You just said you placed somewhere after 16th. So what's that say? I mean, the judges are saying that there was 15 guys
Mm-hmm.
better than you, and your friend is gonna tell you that that was a terrible nationals. Like, what's that saying to you? I mean,
Right?
he's
True.
like, I don't think it was that bad. Somebody with a badass physique just got, placed outside of the 16.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it wasn't personal, but
No.
like,
Yeah.
are there really bad nationals? I mean, the last three I've seen, or maybe
It's
three, they've been pretty good.
yeah. It seems like nationals gets the highest draw too.
Yeah. I did, let's see, my first national show was, I want to say 2021. I decided to do USA's. And it's one of those things where you do your first one and you get kind of a wake up call. At least I did. I didn't wake up yet either. I needed to feel it again, I guess. But, I go there thinking I just want an overall. I think, okay, maybe I'm kind of like a badass at this like bodybuilding thing. Like, I show up and there's like 30 other guys. I swear they put some heavyweights in my lineup. Like I was convinced these guys all they're not with me. The guy behind me, he looks like he's like 20 pounds heavier than me. There's no way
Yeah.
this guy's, and nope, they're all getting up there with me. I guess they're all light heavies. So we get up there. I get like third call out out of four call outs, I think. Maybe it was fourth call out of five. I don't even know. But I know that I didn't win that day. And and then I came back and did nationals at the end of that year too, because my wife, she did her first national show that year with me and she got first call out. So I'm like, well, I guess I'm not a badass, but maybe my wife is. So I'll go, and I know she won't prep without me. So I'm gonna just do it with her, even though I'm thinking I don't really have much of a chance, but I'll try my best and we'll both go to nationals in December. I think it was in Florida that year. And she got her pro card, and I got kind of a similar result. I do feel like my physique was a little better, but that being said, I was in light heavies. There was like 30 plus guys, all looking insane. Like you're standing there, it's pretty demoralizing, and you guys probably know the feeling of like waiting for them to call your number, and you're thinking, all right, I didn't get first call out, but I think
Yeah. Oh,
I'm
yeah.
coming. I'm
Yeah.
coming. Like this is my call out now, the second call out for sure. I'm not in it.
like looking back.
Like I'm like, wait, I'm like keep checking my number, like making sure like they didn't call it again. It's just you
Yeah,
get slapped up sometimes at nationals, and light heavies is pretty insane. I'm not gonna
it is.
like go and say that supers or heavies isn't insane also, but there's just always so many people. It's like 30 to
It is.
40 light
Always.
heavies.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, I think
Yeah.
it's the most common weight for like just amateurs coming up. There's just, you guys have always, like you said, always 30 plus. I swear to God, that's crazy.
Ugh.
Well, and there's usually, I don't know about nationals this year, but there's usually like the 8 to 10 guys at the end of the class that like probably shouldn't have came anyways. Was that
Yeah, you got a few of those. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
surprised that at nationals this year in the supers, there was maybe only out of the 32 or 33, I think there was maybe about 3 or 4 that were like, what are you doing here? The rest were like, holy shit, there's a lot of big dudes here.
Yeah. I guys like you, Rob, and Alan Cool, and we were just talking
Ellen,
about dude,
Ellen
I'm
was a
spacing at names like a mofo. But I've been around you guys, and so like I've always been extremely realistic. Like I know my height, I know the weights that the guys are getting on stage at. If
mm,
I were to be at a national level, I'd either need to be like just making 224 like and rock hard conditioning, or I need to be like 250. And
right. Like
I've
no,
never been there. I've never been there, so I'm like, I don't know why I would even show up unless I'm trying to do classic or something. But I just know one too many guys that have like crazy aesthetics and they can suck down to that weight and not lose their shape. So I've just
mm,
never gone. I'm just realistic,
yeah.
I guess, with myself on that. How
Yeah.
tall are you, John?
Um, I am about five. I usually measure in at 5'8.5". So it's like short for the real world, but tall for bodybuilding, which is the only time I wish I was shorter is on the
Yeah,
bodybuilding stage.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just under 6 foot.
Yeah.
I got another kind of cool topic that fucking pisses me off a lot. So bodybuilders now compared to bodybuilders in the 90s. So what I mean by that is I listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of bodybuilding shit. I'm constantly just feeding my bodybuilding addiction. But I listen to like Dennis James's podcast and RX Muscle, and it just seems like this is a reoccurring theme of just every couple episodes we got to just shit on all the modern bodybuilders. They don't train hard. None of them are shredded. They don't have Christmas trees, and it's just so fucking untrue. Like, listen, in my opinion, yeah, the top six at most of those 90s shows were incredible. Possibly better than a lot of the top sixes, maybe nowadays. But overall, like, it's not even close. There's so much fucking more talent now. Like, just imagine if you took all the bodybuilders and just fucking put them in one class, all the Bumsteads and fucking everybody, and then you compared them to the 90s. Dude, it's not even close. On top of that, 90s condition. Yeah, there was some dudes in the 90s that came peeled, of course, but I've just gone on YouTube and just searched random 90s shows. Dude, they weren't in that good a condition. There wasn't a lot of glute striations. They didn't really show their glutes a lot. You know what I mean? It was a different look. It was more full, more of like a diuretic fullness, weird combination that they did in the 90s. They fucking love diuretics in the 90s. Some of these diuretic protocols in the 90s is just fucking nuts. Like Tuesday morning taking shit. Like, dude, the show's fucking Saturday, dog. What the fuck? If I did that, I'd show up look like a licorice or something. Just fucking, you know?
Yeah.
But anyways, long story short, I respect the 90s, of course, but it pisses me off, man. These guys just need to let it go. Let it go. You guys are fucking legends. We love you guys, but just stop trashing modern bodybuilding, because the condition nowadays on some of these guys is far superior than a lot of the condition back then. And they're shooting on different cameras, which made them look more conditioned as well because it was more pixelated and shit. Anyways, what do you guys think? CT, go first.
I actually just saw a video where they took the 90s video footage, like the same
Mhm.
camera, and they applied it to this year's Olympia. And I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit,
Yeah.
these guys
It's
look
mind
fucking
blowing.
nuts. But versus, versus the now we have like 4K. I think do we have like 5K now all of a sudden
Yeah.
too?
And the
Yeah,
lighting's way
and you
worse
can
now
see,
too.
yeah.
That's another
And so I
subject.
don't know. I wasn't in the 90s and all that stuff. I do think that they had some like freaks as far as like aesthetically, and
Mhm.
that's what a lot of them lean on. But those guys influenced now, and I can't imagine that bodybuilding went backwards, with the
Right.
exception of like the bloat that we saw like end of like the 2000s, 2010, where people
Hmm.
started getting so bloated because they were trying to just push their weight up. But I really feel like in the last few years that we found a good balance, especially with classic and stuff. Like um Juan Morel was one of them that like he's like, oh, I'll just work on my waistline. Like everything, his body was great, and then all of a sudden he started being able to pull a vacuum, and like it totally changed his physique. And
Hmm.
so I just don't think that we've gotten worse. I think that the camera footage has gotten better, and guys are just sour, I guess. I
The
don't I don't
lighting's
know.
gotten worse.
Well, I will say the lighting fucking is getting worse.
Yeah,
At
we'll
shows.
leave that. We'll leave that for the next topic. Go ahead, John.
Okay.
Mm, yeah, I don't think that it's gotten you know, I think that it's gotten better personally. Depending on what you like, I guess it's just a matter of perception. Like, what do you like to see? I mean, what are you not seeing now that you don't like? What are you seeing now that you don't like? I mean,
Mm,
it's so like I said, it's always such a matter of like perception, personal perception, and personal bias. I just don't feel like talk like that is like positive. I don't think
yeah.
it's relevant. I think it's just like, let's just focus on what we got now and let the
Hmm.
judges judge the way they want to judge. And I don't really see a problem with judging for the most part. So it's like, let's just roll with it. These guys look amazing, and I mean, like, if you think about it from a logical standpoint, how would it be possible that bodybuilding would be better, let's say 30 years ago? I mean,
Right.
it would be absolutely impossible when we've got,
Literally, yeah.
new things coming out, new technology, new compounds, new equipment. I mean, everything's just better now, you would assume. So, the guys are using all of that and creating some amazing physiques, and I don't really see how it could be better in the past. I mean, better, different, if you like that,
Hmm.
but better. I think that's just, it's not the case.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
I
Go
think
ahead.
another thing that's funny though is the guys that are talking shit about today's bodybuilders are often the ones that are coaching the top level bodybuilders now.
Right. Or it's like
Like,
it's like
oh,
Dave, or it's like Dave Palumbo or something. You're like, dude, Dave, you had one of the fucking ugliest physiques of all time, dude.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's go to another thing. Now I want to bring up this subject. And I want to tread lightly because you know, I want to say the Craigs and the Ribbicks now who've kind of taken over, they're the best promoters in the country. Like the swag bags and all the shit they treat their athletes better than anybody. I've been around, I've seen some shit. I've been to 3 national shows. You know what you get at a national show? A fucking $3 t-shirt. It was putting it down at Sammy's fucking t-shirt shop. That's what you get at national shows.
Yeah.
So when you go to the Emerald Cup and you get fucking a bag and this, they're awesome. Now, that being said, I'm going to send this video to Ivan because I'm friends with Ivan. Please, for the love of God, can we do the athletes a favor and at least for prejudging, turn off the fucking LED screen? We're not there. Man, it was bad a few years ago. I remember at the E Cup a few years ago, they would have remember like the old screensavers? There would be like
yeah.
an acid trip going on. A few years ago, E Cup for like years and years, they would just have that going on. And someone doing a posing routine is like, I can't even focus on this person. This fucking acid trip behind me is going crazy. So now they have the LED screen and it's great for advertising and sponsors, and I get that. But you're really cutting the athletes short by not having a black background. It's just one of the reasons why a lot of these 90s pictures are so iconic is because of the lighting in the background. If you're standing in front of 7,000 different colors behind you, you're not going to have a great silhouette. You know what I mean? So, Ivan, Craigs, we love you guys. You're the best in the country, but can we maybe be like the leading force in this and just be like, okay, for prejudging, to respect everyone and the hard work they put in, we're going to black out the screen. And then I get it, you know, if you want to do it nice, I would like to see it like when it's important. When we're judging, boom, screens off, night show and prejudging. But maybe we could just start out with prejudging. Because I just think, man, what are we doing, man? We're there for the athletes. It's not cheap to do a show, especially a national show.
Right.
So can we do that? I'm hoping we can. I'm hoping we could lead the charge because the Emerald Cup is one of the biggest shows, amateur shows in the country. And if they lead the charge on this could be like, you know, the new standard. Go ahead, John.
I was gonna say muscle contest. This year, I don't know if you guys were there in Las Vegas, but we are USA's. I didn't even say the name of the show, but USA's. I mean, they did such a good job, in my opinion. Like it felt intense. It felt like it was like a medieval theme. It was like mostly dark, mostly black, you know, like, and then the music, like when you're at that USA's, I don't know about nationals this last year, but when I did USA's, the last two times I did it, like the music was like, yeah, like it felt like a party almost. Like it's like pumping you up. It's making you feel excited. The sound system was great. And
Mhm.
you know, at these shows that we have in the region, it can kind of be like, and maybe they're just doing the best they can. So I don't want to criticize them if they don't have the capabilities to do what they do at USA's. Obviously, that's much bigger budget. But it'd be kind of cool if we had more of that vibe where it's like making the show more exciting, more fun, better lighting, better backdrops, and better music. I don't know.
Yeah, nationals and North America's they had a DJ. It's fucking cool.
Yeah.
They they,
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
yeah, they keep the show's pace going with the right music. Yeah. What do you think, PP? Lighting.
I honestly wish that the IFBB and the NPC would just set a uniform standard for black backdrops because
Mhm.
every time I've seen stage shots from any professional show or NPC show, everything looks better, pops better off the picture of the physique. And I imagine even more so when you're at a show, looking at it in person, versus every year at the Olympia, like the cinematography, like the videography of the show, like has been off. But I've been at the Olympia a couple times, and all the stuff going on in the background, I'm like, I'm here to see the most beautiful physiques in the world, like the best bodies in the world, and I can't look at them because of how everything is being displayed around it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
so I
but
just think that they should set a standard.
yeah, it was nuts. Like what? Like not last year, but the year before that had like a fucking laser show going on, like behind fucking dudes. It was like, what are we doing? Um, yeah. So hopefully we can do something like that. I think we all made some good points there. Um, what's your guy? If you had to pick one, let's go two. Let's go two. We'll do a couple more questions that I had, and then I got 4 questions that people submitted. Um, we're coming up on an hour here, I think, 45 maybe. I don't know, but we'll keep going a little longer. If you had to choose 2 equipment brands to ride with for your gym, only 2, what are you going with?
You want to go first? I might need to think.
Oh, I'll go with it. I mean, I'm a big free weight guy, so when I do utilize machines, like it's typically particular. Like I love Cybex hack squats. I think that's probably the best hack squat in the world as far as just how it fits and moves and everything. And then honestly, Arsenal's been putting out good stuff. Like
Mhm.
I know that's newer as far as in comparison to Life Fitness has some good stuff, but I like Arsenal and they seem to be adapting to the demands of the bodybuilding public. So
Yeah.
I'd probably stick with Cybex and Arsenal.
Can't go wrong with those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably say I'd have to agree with you on Arsenal. They just like, for one, I like that it's American made. So
Mhm.
there's some companies that are coming out now, like New Tech, and I don't know where Max Pump is made, but I know New Tech is Korean. And
Yeah.
I think I went to Torture Gym. I don't know if you guys went, but I went there. They've got the New Tech, and
Yeah.
some of it's pretty good. I mean, but some of it is, it's kind of hit and miss. It's like I think that's the way it is with every single equipment brand. It's like you're
It
gonna
is.
find the pieces that they knock out of the park, and you're gonna find the pieces where you're like, this one, nah. Like, like Arsenal has a lot that I like, but they also have a few pieces of equipment that, are a no-go. It's just like,
Yeah.
nah, I don't need
Yeah.
that. But like Nautilus, Cybex, they both kind of have a few pieces where you're like, it's like it doesn't make sense that you love it, but you're
Oh yeah.
like, I love this piece. You know what I mean? It's like it's like 30, 40 years old, but I love it.
Yeah.
There's
So
just ones we've already done. I just kind of wanted to show the format. We do 2 sets.
is that UCP?
No, that's my dad.
Oh, okay. Okay. So apparently, what I heard was that what was it? So the Arthur Jones created Nautilus, correct? And then it was his brother or his son actually helped build Hammer Strike. I
Mm.
found that out recently. That was pretty cool history. Or like the Nautilus and the Hammer Strike kind of same from the same family brain, I guess. If I had to pick two,
Yeah.
so if you consider Hammer Strength and Life Fitness the same brand because Life Fitness makes Hammer Strength, I think overall they have the best selection of everything. Because I mean, you're talking every selectorized like piece, Life Fitness,
I didn't
Hammer
know they
Strength.
were the same company. I didn't know
Yeah,
that was the same.
I believe Life Fitness makes Hammer Strength or vice versa.
Yeah. I have a rep in Auburn that I was going through, Auburn, Washington, that I was going through, and I didn't buy a lot from them. I had the intention of buying more, but I bought the Life Fitness, like I don't know what it's called, like the trainer where you have like 6 stations or whatever.
Yep, yep.
I bought that, and then I bought their Hammer Strength lying like chest press. But
Mhm.
they're good. I do think that it's a little bit too. I don't know, like it's more commercial gym, like just kind
Yeah,
of.
that's what I was going to say about it too. It's like I
Yeah,
think if you had just one brand that would to build a gym with, you probably would be able to have the most array of equipment and selections if you had that specific brand. But there's still some flaws in it, and it's older, and it's like every fucking LA Fitness and fucking 24. They all have fucking Life Fitness Hammer Strength, so it's like overplayed.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like I don't own anything Hammer Strength. I don't think. Actually, I have a calf seated calf.
I
It's
have
like why buy it? Because like it's not going to draw anybody to your gym. You're like, hey, I have this Hammer Strength incline press. You're like, so does 4,000 other gyms.
right.
Yeah. So besides that, like if I had to pick two, yeah, I think Cybex, if you look through the years, man, um, they have just some gems. So I probably have to agree. And the same thing with Arsenal. I agree with you guys. Like they nail like 90% of their stuff. I mean, it's like kind of like we were talking about earlier that they're totally overbuilt. You know what I mean? Like there's so much material that goes into like the tricep extension that we have at O'Malley's behind the neck. That thing fucking takes up like a 6x8 fucking space, and it's a tricep extension. So
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal's awesome. Is it overbuilt? A lot of the machines are way overbuilt, way overpriced. But it's like if you have unlimited checkbook, yeah, I think Arsenal would probably be the best for a bodybuilding gym. Like I went to Flex Lewis's gym like right after it opened, so I tried a little bit of the whole line. So it's pretty dope. It's definitely pretty dope.
Yeah.
All right. Who's your favorite bodybuilder and why? CT.
Honestly, I probably Dorian, and for
Dorian?
no other reason than grow like when I first got into bodybuilding, I didn't even know bodybuilding was like a thing until like I was 24. I didn't really even get into it until that point. I'd seen some magazines, but otherwise, but
Did you
Dorian, as I
fucking
started
grow up
like
in
watching,
a fucking dungeon or
huh?
something? Did you grow up in
What?
like a dungeon or something?
No, man, I grew up in like near Detroit, but it was all about ball, like football,
True. Yeah. Sport.
basketball, like
Sport. Yeah.
athletics, that kind of stuff.
So,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, no, Dorian for me, like watching Blood and Guts and that stuff growing like as a bodybuilder, I just was like, yeah, okay, like I could latch on to what he was going on in his life and the dungeon vibe. I was like, I like that.
You ever heard Dorian talk about the Holocaust?
No.
Apparently, it didn't happen.
Oh,
That's what Dorian
I'll
said.
have to see, really, I'll have to see that. I don't,
Dorian's a trip, dude. Like, if you go deep into some of his podcasts that he's done, like this dude he's cool as fuck, but man, he says some fucking funny shit. I think it was
yeah,
on Dave's podcast. Dave was like, Dorian, are you sure you want to say this? And he like went on this rant about how it was fucking staged and didn't really happen and blah blah blah. But he also has I heard he has a Aryan tattoo somewhere on him too. Because
huh.
he grew up in gangs, you know, like he's rough growing up, Dorian. So like he was part of some Aryan gangs. And I don't necessarily think he's racist or anything. It's just part of his gang that he grew, you know, joined as a white person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know
Just,
any of that. The only
dude,
only part of
yeah.
bodybuilding I'm talking about is the '90s part. In
Oh,
modern day Dorian, I don't even pay attention to be honest.
yeah. We'll, we'll hit up these fan questions real quick and get up on out of here. All right. Okay. First one is from Ron FG98, I think. Growth hormone, pharma grade or generic? I guess I'll go first. I've only tried farm grade a couple times consistently. Trying to remember the brand. Uh, Man, if I could afford that, I would do it. But I just do generics because it's cheaper. I haven't done it for about 6 months because funds have been a little lower. But before that, I was running it pretty consistently from 21 to 23. And I definitely felt like it gave me a rounder, fuller look. Slept a lot better. Was very sleepy throughout the day. And yeah, so if you could afford farm grade, go right ahead. But I just think it's so fucking overly priced. And if you find a good generic, it's almost the same thing. I don't know. There's just a lot of debate. What do you guys think? Go ahead, John. You go first.
I've only used farm grade one time. I just was curious. I was like, hey, I think it was very expensive. Like, I want to say $500 for one kit of
Oh
like
yeah.
maybe it was 100 IUs. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, I hope I don't like this, because if I do, then you know what I mean? Like I don't want to be spending $500 on 100 IUs. So I tried it. I didn't, what was I expecting to really notice or feel? I don't know. But I ran it at like 6 IUs a day, pinning fasted and post workout. And I didn't really notice any difference from my generic black tops. And
Mhm.
so for me, if money wasn't a thing and I'm just like, hey, I'm just going to use what is, should be the best, I would just buy the farm grade and just say, cool, I'll use it. But without knowing that there's like a proven difference and that it's worth it, and even if it was worth it, am I willing to spend the extra money? um you know I probably would just stick to generic, and I have run generic for, and I don't mind saying this stuff. I mean, I just feel like we don't, the bodybuilding community, we don't talk about this stuff very often, and it would make it a hell of a lot easier for everybody if we did, and we were a little bit more open about it so that we could learn from each other. um,
Sure.
I personally have been using it consistently for about, I'm going to say, 2 years. And my dose ranges have been anywhere from 4 IUs to 8 IUs. And I didn't do 8 for very long. I just I was curious, but on average around 5, 6 I use.
Nice. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
I think, dude, like I was saying, you're like your physique just in the last couple months, I've been super impressed with. Just the fullness and everything is really coming together.
Thank
Um,
you. That means a lot.
yeah, dude, it's I was really blown away recently. So I can tell like that GH is working, man. You're fuller, you're rounder, but you know, you put the work in. The one thing I could see, man, on your physique, do you train your adductors very often?
Yeah, I hammer them like every, like I was told my adductors looked weak. Like I want to say it was like a year and a half ago, maybe it was 2 years ago, and so I started hitting them a little more seriously. But I mean, it sounds like it sounds like you were about to say I need to be training them more. So
I mean, I was looking at your physique and I was just like breaking down from the front and I was like, man, everything looks fantastic. If we could just get those fucking quads to just touch down a little bit further, you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just comes with time. I used to kind of have weak adductors and now they've grown a lot.
go ahead
Even
too.
from what like my last picture that I just posted from nationals till now, they've grown a lot. And I just did a lot more wider stance leg presses. Of course, you know, the typical, you know, good girl, fucking bad girl adductor.
Yeah,
Um, Maple the adductor. I would hammer that. And I just started doing a lot more. I always kind of did like closer mid range stance because I'm like, I got a bit of outer sweep. Then I just moved everything out a couple years ago and it grew a lot. So maybe that might help. But yeah, I'm nitpicking. It's you know what I'm saying?
I don't
But
mind it, dude. Like I think some people get like, it's kind of sensitive about hearing like something that might be weak on them, but like I'm not. Like I would rather people tell me, like, as long as they're not trying to be mean, but like,
oh yeah.
like just tell me, like, so I can at least do something about it or try.
Yeah.
Yeah,
CT.
I saw the most muscular you posted like the last couple days. I don't know when you posted it, but much more complete, much fuller than I think I
Mhm.
saw you on stage at Tangy.
Mm,
And that's yeah, you got a lot going on just since July.
thanks,
Yeah.
man.
You're
Thanks.
starting to get like a national level look, you know, like the roundness and fullness is like, oh, that guy belongs up there, you know?
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know how it is as bodybuilders, like we get on that grind, we kind of get lost. Sometimes we get lost in it and we wonder like where we are at. And then I just feel like I kind of was able to refocus after Tangy. I
Yeah.
was just like I was competing a lot. I was doing show after show and like I love competing. It's fun. I love doing it with my team, with my clients.
Mhm.
But when you don't get any better and you're not winning consistently and you just and then you've got people watching you. You got clients that are watching you, and you're starting to feel like, man, they're watching me lose. They're watching me not progress while telling them that I can help them progress. Like
Mhm.
at some
I
point,
feel that.
it's like I want to get better. Like I need to do what I know you got to do to get better, rather than just tell them to do what I'm not doing. Because
Right.
I know what to do, but I wasn't willing to do it. Like but I had to take time off. So that's basically what I did. Took time off, really mentally got in the groove again, and that's about it.
Yeah. So yeah, thanks for sharing the GH doses and stuff. So I can go into more detail too. So right after Stu won the USA's, he was talking about his whole. Everyone's calling him 10 IU Stu, right? So of
Mhm.
course, me and Ryan Foster were like, "Oh fuck, we got to take 10 IUs too if that's what Stu's doing."
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I ran 10 IUs pretty consistently from 22 to maybe 8 months ago, and yeah, it definitely works for sure. And it's about consistency too. Like you build up over time with GH. I remember back in the day, I would like when it was like broke, I'd like get like one kit and then run it, and then like, oh, I didn't like see anything. It was like you gotta fucking like run it consistently
Yeah.
for a while and to see, you know, the results of it, the hyperplasia and
Right.
splitting it like that. You know what I mean? That takes a while, dude. You're not
Yeah.
gonna fucking take a couple shots and just grow a bunch of new
I wish
tissue.
it
But
worked like that. I wish
Yeah,
it worked.
well, I think what I ran into though is I got a little bit of insulin sensitive because of I couldn't run insulin that often because I was working like 5 or 6 days a week and I was training right before. There goes my phone. I was training right before my last meal.
Yeah.
And so like you can't really if you're training before meal 6 and going to bed, you can't slam a bunch of insulin and then fucking go to sleep. So
No.
what I ran into is I didn't run enough insulin with it, and I started getting like puffy ankles and like sensitive. I was messing up my insulin sensitivity. So if anybody's getting into it and you're running a high dose, make sure you get with a coach that knows how to balance the insulin with it, because I mean that's kind of the holy grail with it, anyways.
Yeah.
With insulin, I haven't ran it for a while, but I'm gonna try to run it here when I get going out of my health phase and stuff. Just on back and leg day. I don't like doing it every day, but like on weak body or like big body part or weak body part days, I'll do it then.
It's
But
usually what
anyway, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's usually what I do too. I don't,
Yeah.
I'm gonna use it. It's usually on either chest or legs.
Mhm. And when I was running 10 IUs that whole time, I would say I'd average 6 to 10. I wasn't always on 10, but there was a few months where I was pretty consistent. And yeah, it's good stuff if you can afford it.
Yeah.
But definitely. A couple more questions here. Two more. Let's see. Florida G89. I don't even know this guy's name, but Florida something. Favorite off-season compound, of course. PT, go ahead.
Testosterone.
Right? Like you have to have that has to be the answer. Let's just say besides test.
Um, I like depending on your blood work, I like EQ.
Mhm.
I honestly though, like
So,
I really like the water retention that I get from Deca, but I don't know. I've been using MPP a lot though. That's
mhm.
probably the one I use the most consistently. EQ just makes me like ravenous hungry though. So that's
Mhm.
that's when I utilize that. But now I've got a really finicky digestive system, so now that I've got that figured out, I pretty much don't have any issues with appetite. So
Recently, I heard some people shit talking EQ. I've always liked EQ. Like I bounce back and forth between Nandrolone or EQ as far as my favorite off-season compound besides test. I'd probably lean more towards the Nandrolone. Just I get better gains off it personally. But I was listening to the HD Muscle podcast, and I can't remember the owner. What's his name? Dorian Hamilton who's working with Broderick Chavez was saying that EQ does the same thing as testosterone. So like if you're taking EQ, D-ball, and testosterone, you're just like flooding the test category. But I don't know. That just didn't really make sense to me. I don't know what. I was just kind of throwing that out there. I heard that today and I just thought it was weird because
Yeah.
it's in the nandrolone family. So why would it? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
why would it overflow that part of your receptors? Because that's what Broderick Chavez is trying to say. Like, oh, people that take test and EQ together are fucking idiots because they're basically just taking like 3,000 milligrams of test.
What are you supposed to take it with? Like if
I know
it's not
that's what I'm
test,
saying.
then what else are you supposed to take
I don't
EQ
know.
with?
I don't know. I guess they were just saying Dorian Hamilton was just like, oh, Nandrolone's way better because it's in a separate family and blah blah blah. Like he was saying the best cycles are like you take the one from the DHT family, you take one from the 19 Nors, and then you take one from the testosterones, and you get 3 compounds working each category. But I'm like, that doesn't make sense because EQ's in the fucking 19 Nor,
Yeah.
is it not? Right?
So I've just known that EQ is kind of getting a bad rap, like in the last I think 6 months. Like John Jewett, I did his J3 University, and I know
Mm-hmm.
John Jewett is
I,
not a fan of EQ. So he makes that statement. It's a horse drug. It's not for humans. It's it's he doesn't. I haven't really heard much of why people are saying that it's bad, But you know, once someone says something that is, you know, looked at as a very knowledgeable person
Oh
in
yeah,
bodybuilding, I feel like it kind of spreads.
You could say the
yeah.
same thing about Tren.
Yeah.
I know, right? Like fucking yeah. Well, some of these, not all these steroids were specifically made for fucking,
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
humans. But
I kind of like I've been liking Primo, honestly, as long as you know
yeah,
it's real. I've actually
If I
Primo's
could
been
dope.
afford it.
yeah, that's one of the things I've been running a lot of. The like after Tangy, you know, I took a break, ran some just test only, and then uh about let's see, about a month ago, I got blood work done numerous times in the last few months just to kind of like I was pretty interested in what was going on. And so I took a break again, but when I did a push, I had high primo and test and honestly, I just had those two and it worked really well for me, at least from what I
Mhm.
can see. And then
Yeah.
I re-implemented it again about 4 weeks ago, and I like it. You know,
Mhm.
I take Primo about 600, and that seems to be a nice place to be for me at least.
Mhm. Do you get pretty good strength gains off of just that and Primo?
Yeah, I'd say so. You know, I haven't been in
Yeah.
a surplus in the last 3 weeks or so. I've been kind of like doing
Mhm.
a mini cut to kind of assess where I'm at and see if what I want to do. But
Dude,
what?
go fucking win the emerald.
I'm thinking about it, but I know that I'm too lean right now to keep on a deficit and just, you know,
Yeah,
continue.
that's a
I can
tough.
do a little pull. I can add some food and kind of chill and then do
Mhm.
a push for Emerald if I decide to do that. But the Primo is definitely a drug I like. So
Nice. That's a good answer. Yeah, I just started messing with Primo a couple of years ago, and yeah, it's very clean.
mhm.
It's just a good drug, like you said. If you can afford it and find a good connection on it, it's
Yeah.
good stuff. I'm doing a 10-week clean out period right now, trying to last 10 weeks. I should be able to. Just running 250
Yeah.
and doing all the good stuff, HCG, Clomid, all that stuff. Just kind of finish that off. But when you get to like that 5 to 6 week mark, where you're just like, oh, I want to like pushing to get back on, but I still need to do blood work and donate here next week on my days off. So gotta get that
Yeah.
out of the way, and then I'm gonna try to push it a little bit this off season. I'm 37, so you know as far as making gains, the clock's ticking a little bit, but I still got some time. But I've
Yeah.
never really pushed the gear that hard. You know, average cycles 750 tests, and 300 300 or 600 if it's two compounds, 750 600, if it's three compounds, 750 400 300, whatever. Just talking to a few guys, and some of my buddies, Ryan's too, some of the guys that have gone pro and knows what it takes. They're telling me, to support 250 pounds lean on stage, you kind of have to have a certain dose here. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And they're basically saying you need to push your test up to about 1250, and bring the other compounds up a little bit. So my plan is to try that out. Probably run tests at 1250. I do really good with nandrolone. So I was thinking about doing test 1250, nandrolone like maybe 600, and then either primo or masteron at like maybe 3 to 400 or 500. That's kind of the goal. So we'll see what happens, and then maybe I could splash in some GH there. We'll see what happens. So yeah, that's the plan. What about you, CT? Are you cruising right now, or?
Yeah, so I prepped like all last year just because I had
Mhm.
taken like 5 years off from competing, and as both of you guys know, like how your body looks when you've competed on a regular basis, like you start to get a certain look, and it's
Mhm.
hard to like lose that. I
Oh
had
yeah.
lost all of that, and so right after the show, I went right into like eating as not necessarily like dirty or anything like that. I've had maybe like 5 true cheat meals since the show, like 10 weeks ago,
Wow, that's impressive.
um I'm eating like 1,200 grams of carbs on
Right.
my training days. So
Wow.
Mhm.
But I shoved my weight up, and actually now I'm actually dropping weight eating that amount of food. So I'm gonna go back into competing this year, at least diet and prep as if I'm gonna do one.
Mhm.
Just because I need to keep. I mean, Rob, you saw me in person. I'm just trying to make my physique look a little tighter before I
Mhm.
decide whether I'm just gonna push to grow or whatnot. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I technically would say that I'm just kind of cruising along right now. I mean, my gear dosage, I am at 600, 300 MPP, 600
Mhm.
test.
Pretty cool.
Um,
Yeah.
and then I got a trip with my girl here to Cancun in a couple weeks. And then
Nice.
after that, I'm gonna turn that switch back on and just see what happens over the spring. So just kind of assess
Yeah.
as I go, I guess.
I'd love to see you go get an overall, man. You can do it. You can do it this year.
I
Yeah.
think
Definitely.
Well,
Definitely. All right, man. Well, guys, one more question here from Ken Lifts 223. Will fasted cardio burn muscle? John, you can go ahead and answer that. What you want to input on that? That could go either
um,
way.
okay, so easy answer. I guess simplest answer is no. Um, I usually do fasted year round. But if
Right.
I'm not prepping, it's like what I'm doing for the fasted cardio changes. So like recently I've been doing like 30 to 40 minutes on the treadmill, and I'll you know, be just like at 2.6 to 2.8 speed, maybe 3 to 4% incline. So it's pretty chill. I don't even know if I'd say it's cardio. I guess it is, but my heart rate's only about 110. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so now there's a little bit more to it. Like I'm not gonna say it's definitely not magical in burning fat. There's nothing magical necessarily about fasted cardio, in my opinion. But I do pin my GH as soon as I get up. I might do
Mm-hmm.
some kind of a fat burner like yohimbine or some kind of
Yep.
product. GH will help
Oh
so
yeah.
that I'm not going to burn through muscle when I'm pinning that. And then I don't know the exact science, so I'm not going to sit here and sound like I'm super smart or something. But I will say that I have heard that GH paired with fasted cardio can do some good things for fat burning, or what is the word? I don't know if you guys have heard that. Have you heard that?
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
GH helps with
Oh,
lipolysis and stuff. So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yeah.
So fat cell mobilization.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the word that I heard. So
Mm-hmm.
I believe it. I mean, I feel like I'm getting effortlessly leaner, but getting back to the question, no, I wouldn't say so unless you haven't eaten for like, if you haven't been eating for 14 hours, that's one thing. But I mean, if you ate a meal, went to sleep for 7, 8 hours, got up, and maybe drink some BCAAs as you're doing it, and
There you go.
you're
That's
doing
all
your
good stuff.
fasted cardio, okay, you're probably going to be fine. I don't really think that's something to worry about.
Yeah.
I would say as well, if you're on some form of PED, like it's going to be really hard to lose that tissue. Like if
Yeah.
anything, you may lose some fullness, but not
Yeah.
actual muscle loss.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I'm along the same lines with you guys. Everyone's person to person basis. Like, yes, of course, you add in the GH in gear, the muscle loss is going to be way harder to happen. But I mean, technically speaking, yes, you could burn muscle. That's the thing. It could go either way. If you're in a negative nitrogen balance, what does your body do? It attacks its own amino acids, tissue to fuel itself. So, like you said, if somebody hasn't eaten in a long time, and honestly, like from the research that I've done, like we all wake up in a catabolic state because you're going to eat your last meal, say 9 p.m. You're going to go to bed, say 10 or 9:30. I eat right before I sleep, but um, and then you sleep for 7 hours. Your muscles are going to be fed probably for 4 hours, maybe 4.5, maybe 5. You take some casein. So the last couple hours, you're always like in a little bit of a catabolic state when you wake up. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but if you want to get like scientifically technical, yes, it could burn a lot of muscle. But like John said, what I like to do is I'll just wake up and same routine as John, take whatever type of, caffeine, hemine, ephedra, whatever you want to do, and then drink 10 grams of BCAAs and 10 grams of glutamine. You're good to go. At least you have something in your system that's not going to blunt your fat burning, but at least you're not eating away at your own muscle tissue to fuel your muscle that needs protein at all times. So yes and no, just be smart about it. You know what I mean? I do fasted cardio. It makes you feel awesome. You know what I mean? I'm gonna admit something to you guys. I've never done cardio in the off season. This year is I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm fucking lazy about cardio in the off season. I'll just straight up admit it. But this year I'm turning over a new leaf and I'm doing cardio because I just know the benefits of it, man. It's just so good for me. But yeah, I get pretty sloppy sometimes. That's not the plan this off season. Not the plan. Anyways, guys, one more thing. I got a funny stuff. We'll end it with something funny. Do you have any gear stories? Like, I'll give you one of my funny gear stories. When I first started, Roger Baker, Rad Fitness, was my first coach. He's kind of fizzled out. He doesn't really coach anymore, but he was really popular in 08 to 014. Him and his wife, 20 clients at every show. But anyways, he had me on a cycle. It was simple cycle. It was like, 750 tests, 600 DECA or Nandrolone. And I went down to train with him in Kennewick one day, and I'd done a shoulder shot a couple days before I went down there. So I got down there, and my shoulder fucking swelled up like I had like a softball on my shoulder. It was gross looking. And I'm just like, Roger, this is like my first year into doing gear. It's like 2012 or something. I'm like, Roger, I don't know what the fuck to do. It's like, this shit just is, it's huge. And he's like, oh, fuck, dude, we need to drain that now. So we just walk into his bathroom. Old Rad Fitness was a badass gym in Kennewick. Just powerlifters, bodybuilders, and strongman. Gear everywhere. Fucking great. And he just jams like it was like an 18 or 17 gauge needle in there. And he sucked out 12 cc's of white, and mainly white, but a little bit of red specks of just like pus. I don't know what it was. It was just like my body's reaction to just shitty gear, bad placement, whatever it was, but it was disgusting. He just kept pulling it out and just into the trash can. He'd go back in, pull it out. And finally, it just deflated, and luckily, like I didn't get any damage from it, but brutal, brutal. And then my other funny gear story is before I knew anything about gear, my buddy Leland, good buddy of mine, he's a longshoreman. One of his longshoreman buddies had gotten some testosterone from Mexico. It was like the old Sus 250. And it was just like a single shot, but it had like a fucking 18 gauge needle on it. We didn't know anything about shit back then. And he's like, hey, I got these 2 preloaded shots, let's do it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's do a cycle. And so we go into his bathroom, just pull our fucking asses out and jam each other. And it was like a dart, dude. It was like a pen. It was like a fucking pencil going in your ass. I'm like, it fucking hurts so bad, dude. And he just injects it in there. And as soon as he pulled it out, it sprayed like 6 feet across. It's like, spraying. We're freaking out. We're like, what the fuck did we just do? We thought we were going to die. We're like, we're going to bleed to death. It stopped after a while. Those are my 2 funny news stories.
I got one, and then I got to bounce.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna end it.
No, so my very first injection ever, like a very well coach, or a very good coach that you guys both know, told me I got a pin to win, right? So I've got testosterone, Masteron, and Tren. This is my first cycle ever. And so I got it loaded up 3 cc's. And mind you, the coach didn't tell me anything other than like, just inject these 3 at this amount. I was like, okay. Well, I had never heard of Tren cough before in my life.
Oh, no.
Like I didn't know shit. So same thing. I have an 18 gauge needle because I don't know anything. I jam it in there. I fucking shoot it, and I'm pretty sure I hit like a fucking artery or vein or some shit. And then I felt the trend instantly, and I had an anxiety attack. I was on the phone with the coach, but I had an anxiety attack because I felt that like I'm dying feeling.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I had an anxiety attack. I blacked out and hit my head on the floor, like I dropped.
Oh no.
And I wake up and I hear the phone. My coach is yelling like, Chris, are you okay? And I was like, what the fuck was that? Like, what the fuck happened? He's like, oh, you must have got trend cough. And I was like, what the fuck is that? But I had like a bruise on my forehead and all this shit, and I had to explain it to my wife at the time, and I was like, yeah, no. So that was
That's a
an
good one.
issue. I had some other bullshit, but that one specifically, just because why the fuck would you tell a first time client that's never touched anything and not give
Yeah.
them any warning
Yeah.
to
It's
just
just
shove a
fucking
CC of Tren in? So,
unbelievable.
but hey,
Yeah.
fellas, I got to dip. I got to go get my kids. So,
All right,
Thank
guys.
you. I'll let
yeah,
John
it was
tell
nice
his
talking to you guys. Hey, John, you and I are gonna have to connect because I think you're like only like 20 miles from me. So,
For sure, man. Sounds good.
all right, guys, I'll see you later.
Later, bro. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I don't, man. I'm trying now. I'm put on the spot. I can't. I feel like I
You
got
know what?
something, but
It's
like,
probably a good thing. It's a good thing. You don't want any of those fucking stories.
yeah, yeah. I mean, if it was something, I mean, I know that trend cough has happened. I had a shot where you inject it and then you realize it's like definitely coming out. It's like, you know what I mean? Like then you
Yeah,
wonder,
like the
should
oil.
I?
Yeah.
Yeah, you wonder, should I re-inject? Like, did any of that stay in?
Did I
Those
lose
are
all of
the
it?
dumb
Yeah.
things, you know. So that's yeah, we can end it there, man. But it's been a
Yeah.
blast talking. I thought an hour would be a long time, but in all honesty, it's like it kind of flew by. So
Yeah, dude. Thanks for coming on, man. So iron therapy, right?
yeah, yeah.
Iron therapy, Buckley, Washington. What's Buckley close to? What's the big city it's close to? Is
Like
it?
we're pretty close to like Bonnie Lake and Tacoma.
Okay, cool. Fuck yeah, you're not that far from me. I'm gonna come up and check it out when it's open, brother.
Yeah, sounds
We'll
good, man.
smash, we'll smash a training session and then we'll record it and add it to the series.
Sounds good, bro. Hey,
All right,
appreciate
man.
it.
Thanks for coming on. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and 1 second before you hang up, just make sure that stop recording. Cool.